Hello and welcome to another Wernicke video. Today we're talking about Joe. Joe is someone who loves animals. We want to read his story and learn a few words of English. So let's get started. Every Sunday, Joe went to the park and talked to squirrels. No one understood him. They have tiny hands and busy lives, he'd say. His neighbors called him strange, but Joe didn't care. He fed birds, rescued worms from sidewalks, and once took home a frog that looked sad. So the story is about Joe, someone who loves animals and helps them and talks to them. It's crazy, it's strange, but he talks to them. And he doesn't care. The neighbors say you're strange. Why do you talk to animals? But he doesn't care. He just loves animals. Let's read the story, the first part of the story again, and learn a few words. It says, every Sunday Joe went to the park and talked to squirrels. Pay attention to the pronunciation of the word talked. If I could. So the word talked, the ed in this word is pronounced as a simple t sound, talked. He talked to squirrels. You see squirrels, the animal in the picture. No one understood him. They have tiny hands and busy lives. Tiny is very small. It's the opposite word for huge. Tiny versus huge. He says these animals, they have busy lives, they have difficulties, but their hands are so tiny, they're so small. Um, his neighbors called him strange. Pay attention to the word neighbor. Neighbors are the people who live next to you. Uh, Please do not confuse this word with neighborhood. Neighborhood, I think they call it quartier in French. It's an area where you live. The area, the place, the location is called your neighborhood. But neighbor is someone who lives next to you, is a person. Let me see if I can find also, is it quartiere in Italian? What's the word? Quartiere. Yeah, probably. So that's neighborhood, the area, and neighbor, the person. Let's move on. His neighbors called him strange. Maybe we can pay attention to the difference between call with the two meanings that it has. Like, I called him uh, to talk to him. So when I say I called him here, I'm talking about ringing him a bell, like, talking to him on the phone. But if I say I call him crazy, it means I say that you're crazy. And that's a different thing. In either case, pay attention, there is no to. You don't need to say I called to him. You can, it's better not to. It's just good to say I called him. Actually, I just checked and there is an interesting difference to learn here between I called him and I called to him. The meaning will then be different. Here's an explanation. When you say I called to him, if I could maybe, this is good. Okay, I called to him, it means you try to get his attention by raising your voice. So I'm on the street and I call to someone. I called to him from across the street. I'm like, Ali, Ali, like this is, you call to someone. But when you say I called him, it means you phoned him, or in some context, you summoned him. I called him last night on the phone. I called him over to help me. This is an interesting phrase. I called him over. It means I called him and said, please come here. Called him over. I asked him to come here. So mind the difference. Anyways, let's move on. His neighbors called him strange. So the neighbors said, like, guy, you're crazy. So strange. Strange. Okay. If I could change this. All right. Strange is similar to the words weird and odd. Odd, weird, and strange. These are synonyms. They called him strange, but Joe didn't care. It didn't matter to him. He didn't care. If I say I don't care, it means I don't mind. For me, it doesn't matter. Okay, he fed birds. Fed is the past form of the word feed. Feed. And the past form, fed. He fed the birds. And he rescued worms from sidewalks. Rescue is to save. When there is an animal that needs help, needs saving, you can rescue them. You can save them. So rescue is save. Uh, Here, rescue and save. And sidewalks. Sidewalk is the part of the street where pedestrians walk, not the driveway, not the part where the cars drive, but the part where people walk. That's called sidewalk. And he once took home a frog that looked sad. He was like, oh God, there is this frog and it looks sad. Let me take it home. So funny. Okay, let's move on to the next part of the story. Sorry, I need to silence my phone. Okay. His apartment was full of animal posters, and he named his vacuum cleaner Rhino. One day, Joe saw a dog stuck in a fence. He jumped into action like a super hero. After saving the dog, he discovered its owner was a famous animal rescue volunteer. You really are an animal lover, she said, impressed. So one day, Joe sees that there is a dog that's stuck and he goes for help and learns that the owner of the dog is a famous volunteer for helping animals. And they start to get to know each other. So let's read it again. His apartment was full of animal posters. And he named his vacuum cleaner Rhino. Even the vacuum cleaner had an animal related name. A vacuum cleaner, as you've seen the device in the photo, is something you use to clean your home. Vacuum cleaner. It sucks in everything. So he saw that there is a dog that's stuck in the fence. Stuck is the past form of the word stick. Stick, stuck. We previously learned the word feed and fed. Now stick and stuck. It's past form of stick, it's stuck. He discovered that the owner, the person who had the animal, was a famous volunteer for animal rescue, and she was impressed. Oh, here's another interesting word. Previously, we talked about the word talked. We said talked has a T at the end. And here's another one, impressed. Impressed also has a T sound at the end. There are some letters that cause this ED to be pronounced with a T sound. One of them is K, one is S. And that's enough for today. There are many more, but today maybe you can just focus on these two. Here's another example. You can think of the word booked. I booked an appointment. Booked. And another one is past. Past has a S sound here, so it's the same thing. Let's move on. Okay, so that was the end of this page. We can go to the next slide. Now they work together at a rescue center. Joe still talks to squirrels, but now people wave at him. Wave at him when they pass. He even started a blog called Paws and Joe. He says the best part of his life is the creatures we share it with. His frog now has a tiny crown. Joe says he's a prince. So Joe still continues to help animals. He works together with the owner of the dog at a rescue center. And people wave at him. They're like, okay, he's okay. So they like him. And he even started a blog. Here we got the word creatures. Creatures are things, beings, like animals, humans. We're all creatures. And his frog has a tiny crown. You can see in the picture, there's a crown on the frog, on its head. So that's it. That's the story, but we can move on to some conversation questions. What does being an animal lover mean to you? If you consider yourself an animal lover, Why do you think so? Why do you think you're an animal lover? You can talk about the elements. For example, helping animals, feeding animals. Talk about the different elements that makes you an animal lover. Have you ever helped an animal in trouble? That's the next thing we can learn. Also, the word helped. There's also P. With helped, the same thing happens. Helped. P sound, K sound, or S sound. And why do you think some people don't like animals? Interesting question. There is also a list of words that we learned in this story. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll take some time to answer these questions for yourself in order to improve your speaking skills. Okay, that's it. Until another story. For now, goodbye.